Under my plan, we will establish a national rent control standard, capping annual rent increases throughout the country at no more than 1.5 times the rate of inflation, or 3%, whichever is higher.
There is a national housing crisis. It exists in Nevada. It exists in Burlington, Vermont. It exists in Los Angeles, where tens of thousands of people sleep out on the streets, in Seattle, and in fact, in most communities around this country. We have a president who not only is not addressing the problem, he is actively making it worse by attempting to cut billions of dollars for affordable housing. So he's moving us in exactly the wrong direction. What we are doing is saying that in America, whether you are a working class person, a middle class person, a low income person, you should not be spending 50% of your income on housing, which is what 25% of the American people are now doing. And that is pretty crazy, because you spend 50% on housing, you have nothing left over, very little left over for food, for health care, for transportation, etc. We also have 500,000 people, including 30,000 veterans, who sleep out on the streets or in emergency shelters. That should not be taking place in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. So what we do is, through a variety of mechanisms, is put billions of dollars into the construction of affordable housing in this country, into the construction of low-income housing, money to help retrofit the housing that people need. And we also, I think for the first time, are going to set standards in terms of how much landlords can raise rents. Because what you're seeing in communities all across this country, not every community, but communities all over this country, is a process of gentrification, where wealthy real estate developers are coming in and they are buying out housing and making it into very expensive housing, and in the process forcing working class people to leave the homes and communities they have lived in for their entire lives. So we're going to have standards with some flexibility in it for cities and states, but standards that say to landlords all over this country that in the midst of a major national housing crisis, where so many of our people cannot afford the housing that they need, you just cannot raise your rents to any level you want.